Of course.
Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
TGIF, thank God it's Friday and it's a very beautiful day and it's a time to just relax and understand that everything is going to be fine when it comes to heading towards the weekend. And it is your breakfast program, Global Morning on Global Television, and I am Jumai Manson. First of all, I'm not going to introduce my co-host because he's not annoying. He's an amazing person, but you know how it is. But I just have to because his wife's birthday is today, but that's why I have to introduce him. If not, I don't want to introduce him at all. Another person then. Hi, Godwin. How are you?
Well, I didn't see that coming.
You didn't see that coming, right? I know you didn't see that coming. How are you doing?
I'm very fine.
So the missus, she's celebrating her birthday today. So happy birthday, Mrs. Sunday. We love you here on Global TV.
Most definitely. I love her more.
I know. It's okay. No one is taking that particular hat from you. No one is taking it at all. It's Friday. A lot of things are happening. We're hearing allegedly that we're listening to. Of course, the NANS president came out and gave a press briefing on the inauguration that took place that was rushly done in an hotel, and he says all sorts of allegations. Listening to that gave me chills to actually realize that sort of thing, if it really happened, gave me chills to. You know, he said something that Seyi Tinubu, that's the son of the president.
Let's even hear him talk even this morning.
Let's listen to this particular allegation, allegedly, you know, these allegations that it's ongoing. Let's quickly listen to what the NANS president has to say. And of course, he has officially declared and said that he is officially the NANS president. So let's listen to him.
I was invited to Lagos to meet with Seyi. I met with Seyi and the Minister for Youth. The Minister for Youth, when he saw me, he hugged me in Lagos. We talked, and I was to be offered 100 million naira. But the thing is, it's not all about money. There are things which I stand for. You cannot ask me to begin to promote a president who has not done something for me to say he has done it. If he does something good, I will promote him. We will support him as the president and commander-in-chief. But where he is, you cannot say I should keep quiet. I won't do that. That we couldn't settle. And they felt that I'm being stubborn not to accept money and to come to Lagos without accepting money and going back. So they planned my abduction, and on the 15th, I was abducted. Of April, I was abducted, stripped naked, beaten seriously in collaboration with the MD of NTA. The MD of NTA, I was packaged to NTA to make involuntary statement that I am no longer, that I have renounced my position as NANS president. I did that to gain my freedom, but immediately I released a press statement that I was forced, it was under duress, and because I was naked, I was beaten. They claimed that they will share the video. That Seyi told them that they can share the video, nothing will happen. And that even if they kill me, he will order, that was the word Ladoja used. It is Ladoja that is telling me this, that he will instruct, yes, he will instruct the Inspector General of Police to cover it up. And if he doesn't do that, he will go. So I now asked, even this morning when somebody was telling me that, you know who Seyi is, I say, yes, Seyi is an ordinary citizen like myself. He's not occupying any official position. I told them yesterday, I made it clear, that even if I'm coming to this hall and I'll be shot, I'll still come to this hall. At the end, today, the inauguration is concluded and I'm the NANS president. I want Nigerians to know what has happened and that we are not going to give up and that Seyi can do anything he wants to do. He's already in this hotel. this inauguration wouldn't have held. You can see the organization is not correct. See the way the things was hardly done. I told the MC, quickly start. Don't do no protocol. Do the inauguration as long as though they will be arresting or killing the NANS president now, who controls over 40 million Aluta forces. So I want to, for the want of time, I don't want to take much of our time, but I have told you in brief. So we cannot say, the most important thing which my government, which we want to do as leaders of NANS, is that we will fight the cultists. We will take away cultism from NANS, the touts from NANS. They are just bunch of touts and criminal elements. When politicians want to do anything, they recruit them to do all of these things, and that is what we have come to fight. I need your support for us to be able to do this, because without you supporting me, supporting our leadership, there's no way we'll be able to achieve this, because these people have gone far. They have no shame. I want to say, finally, that Sheyi Tinubu is a very bad example to the Nigerian youths. And the worst thing that will happen to Nigeria will be for Sheyi Tinubu to become the governor of Lagos State. He has no shame, he has no character. I have been struck naked. He has my video in his phone. If we are in a country where things work, they are supposed to trace that in his phone, and he should be prosecuted. I do not know if what he wants to do with my naked video in his phone. It is also in the phone of the senior special assistant to the president on student affairs. The secretary, while we went to submit a letter to the Minister of Defense, the essay to the Minister of Defense told him that he saw my naked video while they were beating me. That is also in his own phone. This is the country that we are, but they are making a mistake with the wrong person. The honest solution to this for them to do the right thing, or they should quickly terminate my life. I thank you very much for listening, Your Excellency.
All right, you're welcome back from that very quick break. Now, listening to that gave me a lot of chills in my spines, like I was discussing with Godwin. That's a very huge allegation there, talking about the president. He mentioned a lot of prominent individuals. And at least, do you think these are speculations, or it really happened, or he's just trying to be in the spotlight, or what is it in all of these issues that is ongoing? It's just unfortunate that this really actually happened. And he doesn't care, by the way. He doesn't care what's going to happen. He says even if he dies saying the truth or he's shot, he's going to come out and say what it is, that it's not about the 100 in quote billion that he was offered. You know, it's just unfortunate that is this where we are now in Nigeria? What is going on? And he made a very big statement. He says Sheyi Tinubu he's not holding any political appointment. He's an ordinary citizen like you and I. And for him, everyone knows that he's aspiring to be the governor of Lagos State. That's the allegation that's ongoing. But you just wonder, you sit back and say to yourself, gosh, is this the Nigeria in which we are now? Is this what happens? Is this what takes place when we have our father? Of course, if truly, when we have our dads in political appointment, we as the children, we feel we are now ruling this country. It's just unfortunate that this is real.
Well, it keeps getting messy daily, and it's not going off anytime soon as it stands right now. Because looking at what he has come out to say, we're expecting a report or a press briefing also from perhaps Sheyi Tinubu or the Minister for Youth and Youth Development, and also other stakeholders that have been mentioned in this particular incident, for them to come out to speak. Of course, he said he filed a petition and he went to the force headquarters or the defense headquarters to make all of those complaints. And they told him that they found his naked pictures, videos, even on
when he was beaten, stripped naked.
So, and it's been threatened that it's going to circulate, and that's almost an emotional blackmail.
Yes, it is.
But then again, one begins to ask, how did NANS get to this point?
Really?
Because National Association of Nigerian Students, proud to this time, have become a beacon of hope for the average Nigerian student. How did we get to this point? This is one very pertinent question we need to ask NANS. We need to ask both past and present presidents of NANS. NANS, National Association of Nigerian Students, over the years has been characterized by a lot of witch hunting activities, a lot of political engagement, a lot of cultism, a lot of comes with a lot of negative vibes. Now, when you get into a convention, a NANS convention, you would know the definition of cultism. Because most NANS convention, almost all NANS convention, you see different sorts of guns. You see different sorts of money exchanging hands. And these are the future leaders. Now, most times you get politicians that want their own candidate to be the president of NANS because he has done a lot of consultation. Now, once this happens, automatically the NANS president is loyal to it becomes a stooge, a political stooge to whoever is in the office. Could this be another case of NANS president that was sponsored by Sheyi Tinubu or anything allegedly sponsored by any of those people? Because that's become like a trajectory, a recurring phenomenon where you get NANS president gets to be sponsored to come on board. Could this be another case? And probably they have another candidate that they want to emerge as NANS president. And because this is not working according to plan, it needs to be frustrated and of course shown the way out so that he can bow to the pressure. Could this is just one side of the story, but the first question we're asking even on this table is, how did NANS get to this point where we've not seen NANS for the last 20 years? If I get my calculations correct, where you say a luta continua, Victoria Sata, you see that movement, you see mass movement of students supporting a cause. We've not seen NANS for the last 10 years of this, our democratic dispensation, coming out to say, disagree with what the government is saying. Even when the current Minister of Education came out to make some proposals, we were expecting that before this proposal began to take shape, for the 12 years in school policies, the NYSC, you must go through drug and what tests before you become into, and nobody's talking about politicians that go into offices, Senate reps and all the councillors and different governors and different. I thought that this would be a uniform law. Before you come out for elections, you come for campaign, you will be tested. If you are found guilty, you should be asked not to contest for that election. That should be the base. I thought NANS would, at this point, NANS only released a press statement like a politician would do. And of course, there was no demonstration across board from zone A, zone B, zone C, zone, all the zones of NANS. No demonstration. NANS has now become another toothless bulldog where any politician can do what they want. And recall when we had NANS in 1986, where you have the likes of when IBB will be in office and take a decision as a military president and head of state, and the NANS president will challenge what you just done.
Very true.
That's not correct. You don't treat students this way. And by so doing, we had a lot of right-thinking policies that came out of that administration. Very because true. You know that you can't kill all Nigerians today. How many will you shoot? How many bullets do you have? We have more. Each university, Nigerian public university, have approximately 10,000 and above students in each of these public universities, that excluding the private universities at distance right now. So looking at all of this conversation and back to Sheyi Tinubu and the allegation, of course, this brings us back to the point where Idris Abdul Karim sang the song Tell Your Papa, which we are not supposed to play on air, but we're not deprived from talking about it even on air.
Very true.
Now, looking at all of this, what political role is Sheyi Tinubu assigned to perform? What is the office of the first family now an established office in Nigeria by constitution? So we need to understand and work by the dictate of the constitution. If there is an office of the first family in Nigeria, let's know the modalities. The first family we need to operate or we need to go by with, so that we won't get this form of allegation that President's son will say that I can do whatever I want to do, nothing will happen. Now, we won't get to that point if we understand that the office of the first family has been established. You know, because this was how the office of the First Lady came into the limelight.
Yes.
We didn't have any office. It's not recognized by the Constitution.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not recognized anywhere in Nigerian Constitution where you have the office of the First Lady. At least we should be having the responsibility and roles of the office of the First Lady. But you know right now as we speak, the office of the First Lady has our own special advisor. The office of the First Lady has our own media aides. The office of the First Lady has our own people on payroll. The office of the First Lady has a structure. The office of the First Lady has the chief of staff. The office of, so let's look all of this. Now, if the office of the First Lady, which is not constitutionally recognized, can have all of these structures put in place, do we also have what we don't know as the first family in Nigeria? So let's begin to have this conversation so that we'll know where we are going to. So that if we want to talk in light of the Constitution, we'll now say, okay, they brought us to this point where we have the first family recognized, or the first family not recognized. Then what constitutes the first family?
And the roles in which they play.
We recall that during Buhari's administration, the only time we heard about the first family was when the son had an accident, the motorbike accident.
Yes,
that was what brought the son to the limelight.
True.
Invariably, Buhari's family was not totally on the limelight when it has to do with the politics. But we've seen Sheyi Tinubu travel to different states. Even during the Ramadan, for Northern State, he was traveling like an executive governor.
Exactly.
One begin to ask, what does Sheyi Tinubu do for a living? How does he get his wealth? Where does he get his wealth from?
They say from his dad.
If he get the money from his dad, is this from the national coffers? Is this money that is supposed to be earmarked for the good of the Nigerian people? Because anything that is not for the good of Nigerian people is repugnant to natural justice,
equity, and good conscience.
So when you look at all of these, you begin to ask salient questions like, what's going on in the country? Now, bringing in the Minister of Youth into all of this conversation.
Exactly.
It's even sad and it's shameful to hear this coming from them. But we hope that the parties that are involved will be able to come out probably before the end of today to debunk this allegation.
Very important. I like the fact that you said parties who are involved coming out to debunk this this is a very huge allegation, and this is something that is not palatable to Nigerians to hear. But we hope the needful is done when it comes to debunking, hopefully, and let's just believe that they are mere speculations, or will I say allegations. Let's just quickly go on a very quick break. Global Morning will be back shortly. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, welcome back. And just in case you're just joining us, this is Global World on Global Television. And this is the newspaper review segment where we get to talk about different papers making the rounds around the country. Right now, let's begin with the Punch newspaper. We'll begin with the Vanguard newspaper, I beg your pardon. Above the nameplate, we have AFCTA. FG moves to negotiate global trade deals. And we have another one here that says defection. All corrupt public officials will face justice. EFCC. Ogidi begins Delta PDP revival. Sexual harassment saga. Natasha damns Akpabio's lawyer in new letter. That you could find all of those read. You can find that read very interesting on page 8. Probably we'll get to talk about that. Also Agbakuba and Natasha. But let's move on. Just below the nameplate and the star story here, it comes with a lot of riders here. But let's begin with the Kika. Kika here says Mayday, hunger, unemployment, insecurity, real, Tinubu. And it comes with a rider here, approximately 6 riders. And the first rider say promises to address challenges, strengthen labor protection. Labor calls for an end to bloodletting, state tyranny, poverty wages, and all of that. Hands government 20 points agenda. 6 justice, pro-people economic reforms, democratic accountability. FG must recognize workers as key partners at Tico. Now you can go out there and get yourself a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. And of course you can find that read on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. PDP blames APC for workers' hardship and security in the country. You can find that read on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. And it comes with a picture story here, photo story here that shows the Labour Party, Labour activity yesterday and workers demonstrating at the Eagle Square. Very, very beautiful as it seems. But if you want to know more on what happened even on Eagle Square yesterday, just go out there and get yourself a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. On sports, Vanguard Sport. Under 20 AFCON, Flying Eagles begin with slim win over Tunisia, as on the sports side of the Vanguard newspaper. Governors organize labor differs over hardship. Well, I hope Nigerians also can differ over the hardship if at all there is hardship in the country. Day of tribute. Clark was spokesperson for marginalized Nigerians. That goes to the late Pa Clark, Edwin Clark, and of course it was a day of tribute for him. And that's it on the Vanguard newspaper. But for me, 2 stories here caught my attention, and that's the story around the Natasha story, where although the court have told her not to talk about the matter, and she said she's not talking about the matter in court, she's only replying to what the Senate President's lawyer came out to say, that she should produce evidence that she was sexually harassed. And she has come out to say, hey, how dare you tell me to come out to give evidence when this case is still before the court. So she doesn't want to talk about it, but she finds it very, very disturbing that a lawyer of that pedigree, a lawyer of that caliber will disrespect the court's order by asking her to come out and give evidence publicly when the lawyer, the senior advocate, is not a court. It does not constitute a court. So why should as herself, Natasha, present evidence before him and make evidence to the public and give evidence to the public? It was
that case. I don't think it's going away very soon. There's something that keeps popping it up. even when they're supposed to remain mum when it comes to this issue of sexual harassment with the issue of Natasha Apam. It's not going away. It has been dragging for a very long time. It's not going away very soon. This is what happens when you have a Ukrainian and Kogi as parents. They don't stand out easily, but whatever it is, I'm sure we'll get to the roots of the matter.
The one that caught my attention was the one where Natasha always has this way of coming back to you.
Exactly.
So she allowed the matter to just slide. Then she finds. Have you read the letter she wrote to the Senate president? I read it.
Was that supposed to be an apology? Is that an apology?
It is an apology letter, of course.
Really?
She was sorry on what she did on the floor by disrupting the process of the House. Of course, it was a nice way to also put it, but she never knew that the Senate President, the House was one-sided. Never knew that it was Godswill Akpabio's National Assembly. She never knew. Natasha. That's quite interesting. Let's move on to the next paper, which is the Daily Trust. That paper.
All right, now the Daily Trust newspaper, and it goes as thus. And here it says, below the nameplate of the Daily Trust, it says, Baba Ahmed to Atiku, don't run for presidency again. And that's an advice by Baba Ahmed telling Atiku, just stand down. I think you've had enough. It's enough. That's an advice. Well, it's left for him to heed or not to heed. And you can find that read on page 13 of the Daily Trust. And here it says, Maiduguri barracks explosion. We thought it was Boko Haram attack. And that's from the residents. And which of the barracks? It's Memalari barracks. I know they have a lot of barracks in Maiduguri too also. And here it says, Tinubu visits Katsina today to commission project. And you can find that read on page 12. Now, the star story of the Daily Trust goes as, ICPC probes students' loan scandal. Am I surprised? No, I'm not. And you can find that read on page 4 and 5 to be well abreast on what this is all about. And here it says, bank customers weigh options over hike in SMS alert charges. Yeah. And you can find that read on page 23 of the Daily Trust. And then it says, Zamfara, how kidnapped chief imam family members were killed by bandits. Unfortunate incident there. And that read you can find on page 22. Northeast governors decry poor road network in sub-region. And then that read is on page 38. And of course, there's a picture story there and of the World Bank Vice President, Western and Central African Region, Mr. Osumane Dagama. And of course, left is the Bayes University Vice Chancellor, Professor Jamila Shuara, during the bank chief's recent visit, of course, to the university. Of course, that's Bayes University. And here it says, Workers' Day, NLC makes fresh demands. And the writer there says 65-year retirement age for workers reject causation. And then, of course, that's a picture of Joe Ajero over there, the NLC president, national president. And those are mostly the news making rounds on the Daily Trust. And talking about ICPC, one of the stories that caught my eye there, probe student loan scandal. Of course, when anything that has to do with funds, have you noticed in Nigeria, anything that has to do with funds, it goes smoothly for a very short period of time, and then the next thing, it starts going to the wrong direction. And I think it's something that we need to go into, especially this is very beneficial to a lot of individuals, a lot of Nigerian, a lot of families, because they know education in Nigeria is something that we should take seriously. I think we don't really take that really seriously. But at the same time, this particular student loan has done a lot of good to so many homes. And now that this is happening, I'm not surprised though, Godwin. I'm not. From the beginning, I said it. I'm not surprised. I knew something like this would definitely happen. But let's just see how it goes on this particular issue at hand. The next is this day, and Godwin will be running us through the paper.
All right, let's get to the day newspaper. Let's just above the nameplate here we have Nigerian risk perpetual economic stagnation without reliable power. Additional warns comes with a rider that says calls for bold reforms in infrastructure and industrialization governance. And you can go out and get yourself a copy of this day newspaper And COMSEC releases the alarm against another suspected illegal investment platforms. Nigerians in the pigeon palace in Nigeria is not a year word. All right,
Really?
just below the stars, the nameplate here, we have a story that says oil post stipends monthly falls since 2021. Dangote says okay with Trump's tariff on urea.
Let's just quickly go on a very quick break. Global Morning continues shortly. Stay tuned.
All right, so below the nameplate here we have oil post steepest monthly falls since 2021. Dangote says okay with Trump's tariff on urea. Well, you can go out there and get yourself a copy of that's the newspaper. The star story here in May Day speech, Tinubu pledges to address high living costs, fight corruption. It comes with 3 riders that says reconnect to workers' welfare. Says they our engine of nation's economy, secrets to our growth. First Lady declares workers' nation backbone. Governor Barua Abbas orders hail workers as labor seek fresh salary adjustment. Sanwo-Olu celebrates Workers' Day, and you can find that picture of Sanwo-Olu, the picture story there of Sanwo-Olu in Lagos, and that's the executive governor of Lagos celebrating with workers. And that's just about it on this the newspaper. Next is the Nation's newspaper, and Juma will be running us through the Nation's newspaper.
All right, the Nation's newspaper, and above the nameplate of the Nation newspaper says Saudi to slam heavy fines on illegal pilgrims tour operators. And here on the Nation, it says Northeast governors unite to end out-of-school children insurgency. You can find that read on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Rep lifts victims of attack. Plateau Communications with 100 million naira. Record on Tinubu not ready, says FBI. Let's quickly go on a very quick break. Global Morning continues shortly. Stay tuned. I used to where did they go? break, and it's Global Money, and it's still the newspaper review and still on the Nation newspaper. And the star story there says Tinubu assures of better deal as workers make 20 demands. And the writer there says Minister lists 13 pro-worker interventionist programs. And then here it says inside the Nation newspaper, it says Edo raises minimum wage from 70,000 naira to 75,000 naira. And Eboyin gives workers 10,000 naira May Day reward. Abia, we have paid 30 billion naira to DARE, inherited salaries, pensions. And you can find that read on page 4 and 5 of the Nation newspaper. Minister ICPC opens probe into student loan violators, Vice Chancellor's summon. And here on the foot of the Nation newspaper, it says Owa Obukun Adesui Hastrop coronation holds May 23rd. And you can find that to get more details on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Next is the Guardian newspaper.
All right, so the Guardian newspaper, the nameplate here, just below the nameplate, which is the star story, says Tinubu Labour clash on economy as NLC TUC push for workers' demand. You can find that on page 6 of the Nation of the Guardian newspaper, and it comes with FG probes student loan disbursements as Nel Fund welcomes scrutiny. Catholic priest protests kidnapping of 47 members, killing of 2. Telecoms shelves services improvement to third quarter as MTN considers 900 billion capex. Religious organization accounts for 63% of noise pollution, complaint says Lagos governor. And Lagos government attacks on electricity workers by military personnel is not acceptable. Additional cries Nigerians GDP decline, poor fiscal discipline. First phase of Lagos Calabar Highway 70% ready to be delivered January 2026. That's an interesting one. All right. Okay, I have a story here that says our negligence, poor maintenance culture made Nigerian one stadium nation. Well, it's very interesting read. That's on the sports side of the Guardian newspaper. But let me just react quickly to this. When listen, when Jumain said that the ICPC probe on the Nel Fund and all on that conversation. We had in one of our programs. We had the MD of Nel Fund that came around for one of our programs, and we spoke extensively about the operational mechanisms of Nel Fund. And what he explained was money does not go through an individual. The money goes through a system. It's a computerized system. It's what you put in and what goes out. So they're not afraid of what the ICPC is saying, because money does not go through an individual. And if you listen to Akin Soya, if you listen to Soya Akintunde, he was able to bring out, discuss on those issues, like he's talking from the back of his hands. Like, no, this is what is enacted. This is what we do, and this is how it goes. So once the money comes to us, automatically it goes out. Once you meet their criteria, the money goes out. So one begin to ask at this point, how ICPC, of course, there is one rumor making the rounds on the social media that ICPC have come out to apologize, that it was an error on their path. But so I don't know how correct it is, because we've not heard from the ICPC coming out to officially declare that this is what we said on this particular matter. But looking at Nel Fund, it has come with a rebirth on our educational system.
Yes, it has.
A lot of students, if now we had something like Nel Fund, when some of us went to school, we won't have classmates that dropped out of school.
Very true.
But my concern again is while we're trying to tackle Nel Fund and looking for ways to address what NELFund does and how much goes into NELFund, because money is involved.
Of
so
course,
ICPC needs to be alert to his responsibility.
Very true.
Well, but I've asked Sonia, even on the show, I asked salient question. The first I asked is, why are private schools excluded from NELFund?
Very true.
If we say that the NELFund project is for Nigerians, Nigerian students, he told me that they're starting from public universities first, before as the act goes on the canal. I asked, can't you be able to make your input felt for the act to be amended, so that it can accommodate students? Who said private school students don't
need help or assistance?
They don't need these funds. Imagine the stipends.
Because the truth is, let me just come into that. I think the belief is that once you go to a private university, you're settled, your parents can afford it, than going to the federal university or even the public university. Then we don't. It's federal university that we have that's under the umbrella of public university. But at the same time, if you go to a private university in Nigeria, do you know how much we're talking about? It means that your parents are gallant, so you do not need that assistance. Those that are in the private university are the ones that are struggling. They are the ones that, according to NELFund, or this student loan scheme, beneficial to individuals who their parents cannot afford to put them through school. So there's a whole lot of I don't think there's any comparison, because the private university and of course the federal university, there are no comparison. Because do you know how much their fees are? It's running into millions. And back in the day, most of us I went to federal university, because I went to UniMaid. You know how much you were paying as school fees. So compared to my baby nieces that just graduated and they were paying like 1.something million naira. So you cannot compare the two. So of course those are I think he has a salient point when I'm not working for NELFund. I'm not even like I always mention that my boss, my immediate boss is Dr. Ibrahim B of Global Television, the CEO and MD. That's my boss. That's who I can who brief for. NELFund, no, but I'm just saying that I think he has a salient point when he said, let us focus on the federal universities first, because these are the ones that really need this.
When you say they really need this, it makes it look like there's an other side of the divide, where people from the private university.
No, it's obvious. Are you not? Isn't it glaring that if you can afford the fees for private universities, your parents are fine. No, these individuals
it might not seem so.
Then how did they get the money to pay the fees? Are you kidding me right now? Do you know how much it is to pay for fees in private universities?
So what if a situation happened where, because we have not talked about this line, what a situation where there's a situation of an accident happened in the family, a loss of funds in the family, or one of those unfortunate incident happens in the family.
Then enroll the child in the federal university.
Is there a modality in Nigeria where you can transfer from a private university to a public university?
Well, I do not know. We have to get the MD
so all of this
need to be put in place.
If we're saying, okay, the private universities, they're paying above their head in terms of their school fee.
Which is true.
You said it is true.
Very true, my nieces.
Those of us that went to...
I don't want to mention... but you know what I'm talking about.
University, we can't really say,
We cannot.
University of Calabar,
I told you I went to UniMaid.
Well, we can't say... I don't want to say how much we paid.
If I tell you my fees back in the day, you'll be shocked compared to what is happening now.
Somebody said that. What we pay throughout our university as an undergraduate,
of course,
what some people pay for one semester.
Thank you.
I don't know.
In a private university.
Well,
and now, and you see, that's the thing. So I think we should. I'm like I said, I'm not holding brief for NELFund, but it's glaring. You cannot see someone.
We should create a balance in this.
But not when it comes to. I can say we can create a balance, but not when it comes to finance.
If it has to do with finance, can't we mitigate?
Let's just say when it comes to
it's a loan. So we're certain that if this is a loan for students, the way private university students and public university students, federal university students are going to pay back this loan is the same way the private university students will be taxed to pay back this loan.
It's not true.
They agree to the terms
I beg to differ.
Conditions.
Godwin, on this particular point, I beg to differ.
Well,
I beg to differ.
Different opinion on the table this morning.
Different strokes for different folks, they say. But of course, it's glaring to know that those in the federal university need this for much more than it's debatable. I am telling you, those that attend private universities, do you know how much the fee? Of course, you might say you can just say some of them are well off, but some are middle class. But the way they get that fund is easy to assess because they know that they will work for a particular time and save up and be able to gather the money and pay. But some in the federal universities, their mothers sell tomatoes. Haven't you seen when the youth couple comes out to give salutes to her mother who sells charcoal in the market, who are pepper sellers? You cannot compare the two because that woman under the sun goes through tooth and nail to, sometimes she sells her clothing let me finish. Sometimes that woman that sees her child through school sells her wrappers. She has to do all sorts. The man is a farmer. He does not even the high, we have high class farmers and low class. He goes through a lot. That man who is a mason that works with his hands just to get that money and tell you, sometimes there's some people in federal university that take with this economy, they still have to go to school with 5,000 naira because of how bad the economy is. You cannot compare the two. When you come to the private sector, do you know how much they pay? I don't want to mention the university that my nieces went to, but I'm telling you, phones are not allowed in that university, but I have a dining area. Do you know how much it is to feed one person in this economy? You have to pay for feeding. You have to pay for a lot of, do you know how much it is? Running into millions. Are you kidding me? So when Nelfon is telling you that they should give priority to federal university, I second that particular. Really? Are you kidding me?
Juma Manson gets to this point.
What did Jumai Manson do?
Juma Manson gets to this point where...
What did Jumai Manson do?
Where she gets so excited with the conversation. And she gets so
emotional. I'm only telling you.
She gets so emotional and almost becoming the mouthpiece of Nelfon.
No, I told you, I hold no
almost the mouthpiece. We are not saying she is the mouth. She's almost becoming the mouthpiece of Nelfon. Well, before this conversation will begin to go elsewhere, we forget that we're supposed to bring you the AM news as it stands right now. Let's just go for a short break so that we'll bring you the AM news. And when we come back, we'll guarantee you that we'll talk more even on this Nelfon. I'm ready for Jumai on the other side of the device.
Oh, please
be ready for us also just after the break.
Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumbai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television's on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news in full. Today, Global TV marks a significant milestone in its second anniversary. Since its launch, the network has made remarkable strides in shaping the media landscape. With a diverse range of shows and series, Global TV has captured the hearts of audiences across the region, establishing itself as a voice in the media industry. In an exclusive interview, the managing director, Ibrahim Biu, shared insights on the network's progress, challenges, and future plans.
So far, so good. I am proud of where we are today. Within a shortest period of time, we were able to be on DSTV, and this is the added advantage to our station. We were on DSTV, we were on Star Time, and the viewers has increased, the number of viewers actually has increased tremendously. And we're doing our best in terms of programs, in terms of reportage, in terms of news. We are doing everything possible to reach out to the vast viewers in Nigeria and, of course, in over 53 countries of the world. Interestingly enough also, we have our app. We have developed an app on Play Store, and anybody, anywhere in the world can watch Global TV from any part of this world. These are all achievements that I'm very proud to say within this shortest period of time. Well, one of the challenging issues that we face within this period of 2 years is the economy of the country. The economy of this country has not been easy, has not helped matters. We have limited number of adverts on our station. I believe that we will reach certain part of technology that you will definitely be surprised.
As we celebrate this milestone, we look forward to many years of innovative programming and engaging storytelling. Congratulations to the entire Global TV team on this achievement. Here's to many more years of excellence. Over now to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will depart Abuja for Katsina State on Friday today for a 2-day official visit. This was contained in a statement by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga. It is stated that during the visit, the president will meet with key stakeholders to assess the security situations in the state and also commission the Katsina Agricultural Mechanized Center and a 24 km dual carriageway completed by Governor Diko Umar Rada. The President Tinubu will also honor an invitation to attend the wedding of the governor's daughter before returning to Abuja. President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajaero, has alleged that workers in the country, including ordinary citizens, are facing a harrowing situation in which the civic spaces is being gagged and compressed to the extent that people can no longer express themselves freely without security measures being used to curtail them. He made this known at the 2025 Pre-May Day lecture themed Reclaiming the Civic Space in the Midst of Economic Hardship held at the headquarters of NLC. Ajaero says labor movement in Nigeria will continue to speak truth to power and fight for the rights of Nigerians. Governor Hope Uzodinma has commended the adoption of an automated salary structure in Imo State to ensure transparency and timely payment of salaries. He made the remark as part of his message to workers during this year's May Day celebration in Owerri, the Imo State capital. According to the governor, his administration remains committed to prioritizing the welfare of workers and states. Amarachi Ibe tells us more.
At the 2025 Workers' Day celebration in Owerri, Governor Hope Uzodinma praised Imo workers for their resilience, dedication, and contribution to the growth of the state. The governor says the introduction of an automated salary system is a major reform aimed at ensuring transparency, reducing payroll fraud, and granting prompt payments to civil servants.
Thanks to our automated payroll system, these salaries are no longer subject to manipulations or political interferences. Pensioners now receive their entitlements regularly, and gratuities that had long been abandoned for very close to 20 years, we have started to roll in and the payment of gratuities.
The governor added that workers deserve to be appreciated every day, not just on May Day, stressing that their professionalism and ethics form the backbone of governance and public service.
In return, I ask you that you remain committed to your responsibilities. Imo State must rise again, and it cannot rise without you. I congratulate all Imo workers on this important day. Continue to pray for Imo State. Work for her peace. We need to work and pray for peace in Imo State so that you can have time, I can have time to function on behalf of our people.
Also speaking, the chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress Imo State chapter, Comrade Uche Chigemezu-Nwigwe, welcomed the salary reform and urged the government to sustain other welfare measures.
Really appreciating you once again for your friendly disposition towards the welfare of Imo State workers. We are always grateful. Thank you for one, prompt payment of salaries and pensioners to verified workers and pensioners. We want to commend Your Excellency for the prompt payment of salaries and pensions to Imo State workers and pensioners, most especially and importantly, the earliest payment of the April 2025 salary before the end of this April.
As Imo joins the nation in marking Workers' Day, the message from both government and Labour is clear. Sustaining reforms and prioritizing welfare will be key to stronger public service delivery. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Amarachi, for that report. The Nigerian Labour Congress has demanded the upward review of retirement age for all categories of civil servants. The national president of NLC, Joe Ajaero, made this demand during the May Day celebration in Eagle Square, Abuja. Samuel Odi has the details. We apologize, that report will be brought in our subsequent bulletin. The Director General National Youth Service Corps NYSC Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu has assured corps members deployed to Zamfara State of adequate security and improved welfare during their service year. Brigadier General Nafiu gave this assurance while addressing corps members during his maiden visit to the temporary orientation camp in Gusau, the state capital. Ogochukwu Mobono completes the report.
The Director General, National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, visit to Zamfara State Temporary Orientation Camp, located at the Universal Basic Education Commission UBEC Training Center in Gusau. The state capital was the first time since his appointment. The Director General then proceeded to the orientation hall where he interacted with corps members and addressed key issues affecting their stay on camp.
Happy to see you, happy to meet you, welcome, welcome, how do you do?
The Director General cautioned corps members against the misuse of social media and night travel, which pose security risk. He assured them of the federal government's commitment to their welfare and safety throughout the service year.
I charge you to stay put, don't put pressure to redeploy. When you are posted, know that some background checks and assessments have been drawn, and we believe you can survive there, and we will always be checking on you. When you have to travel officially, make sure you obtain official release. Do not travel at night,
The state coordinator, Mohammed Ahmed, says 611 corps members, comprising 414 male and 197 female, were registered and have already adapted to camp life with so much discipline and enthusiasm.
The corps members have quickly adapted to the new environment and are responding positively to all camp activities and instructions. High level of cooperation, synergy, and teamwork among the camp officials.
The visits provided an opportunity for the NYSC DG to motivate corps members and reinforce the NYSC's dedication to youth development and national integration in Zamfara State. Ogochukwu Mobno reporting for Global Television News.
The Borno State Fire Service has clarified that the fire outbreak that led to the explosion at the armory in Giwa Barracks in Maiduguri, the state capital, may have been triggered by the extreme heat in the state. A statement by the Directorate of Fire Service, Ministry of Information and Internal Security in the state stated that the fire has been put out. While urging the public to refrain from panicking, he said that there may be a secondary explosion that may disturb the neighborhood. From Imo State comes a report that workers in the state have joined their counterparts across the country to mark this year's Workers' Day. Our correspondent Amarachi Ibe spoke with few of them before the event to get their impressions and expectations. Apologies, that report will be brought in our subsequent bulletin. You are watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, U.S. urges India and Pakistan to refuse tension after Khmer killings. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the federal government has confirmed a 1.5 trillion naira investment in 9 major highway projects spanning over 900 kilometers to be delivered through a 25-year public-private concession agreement under the Highway Development and Management Initiative. The announcement followed a high-level meeting chaired by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, alongside the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu. According to a statement on the Ministry of Finance official X account, the session brought together key concessionaires responsible for managing the projects. United States officials have reportedly reached out to their Chinese counterparts for talks on vast tariffs that have hammered markets and global supply chains. The White House, however, shared its view on its trade relationship with China. Beijing has vehemently denied any talks are taking place while repeatedly urging the United States to engage in dialogue in a fair, respectful, and reciprocal manner. On the foreign news now, the United Nations had identified climate change, women's rights, displacement, and poverty as some of the most pressing challenges facing Afghanistan under its Taliban leadership. Uyi Agbomofuegbe reports that UN's Relief Chief Tom Fisher describes the situation as brutal. The report.
Fletcher's visit comes after U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to slash foreign aid sent shockwaves across the globe. Washington had been the top donor to Afghanistan, having spent $3.71 billion in humanitarian and development aid since the Taliban returned to power in 2021 and imposed a severe interpretation of Islamic law.
So we're in a period when we're having to massively prioritize, take brutal choices, life and death, literally life and death choices about where to operate and which lives to save. And the needs of the Afghan people are right up there on that list. You can look at Sudan for the scale of the crisis. You can look at Gaza for the intensity, the ferocity of the killing there. Afghanistan is a different kind of challenge, but it's a huge challenge nonetheless.
Fletcher, however, says specific measures must be taken to address the problems in Afghanistan.
So I think there's a dialogue there, and you have to engage. There has to be space for diplomacy. And ultimately we have to focus on, what's the outcome we're trying to get to here, which from my perspective is saving as many lives as possible and ensuring that you've got that security justice opportunity for all Afghans, men and women.
Uyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global Television News.
Ukraine and the U.S. have signed a much-anticipated natural resource deal after months of tense negotiations. The deal, which says the U.S. will share profit from the future sales of Ukraine's mineral and energy reserves, aims to incentivize Washington to invest further in Ukraine's defense and reconstruction. The U.S. have urged India and Pakistan to work together to de-escalate tensions after a deadly militant attack in India-administered Kashmir last week killed 26 civilians. Secretary of State Marco Rubio held separate talks with India's Foreign Minister and Pakistan Prime Minister on Wednesday and called on them to maintain peace and security in South Asia. India accuses Pakistan of supporting militants behind the 22nd April attack at the scenic meadow near the resort town of Pahalgam. Islamabad rejects the allegations. Over now to sports, Ogun State government says it is determined to boost the economy of the state through the National Sport Festival, which is scheduled to hold between 16th and 30th of May 2025. Speaking in an interview with newsmen in Abeokuta, the Commissioner for Sports Development, Wasiu Isiaka, stressed that the festival will create direct and indirect jobs for residents of the state. Samuel Odi tells us more.
The 22nd National Sport Festival, also known as Gateway Games, is set to feature a wide range of sports, including football, volleyball, and basketball. The Commissioner for Sports Development, Wasiu Isiaka, says the government is working diligently to complete the renovation of the sports facilities for the upcoming festival, adding that the government will ensure that the facilities are well maintained even after the festival, leaving a lasting legacy for the state's sports development.
Preparation is going very well. I think the stage we are presently is to dot our I's and cross our T's. Of course, you can see the level of preparation for the server. At least we've gone around together. This is just one of the facilities that we are using. We are using another one at Ijeja. There is one at Remo Star facility. And there's another one at Shagamu, NYC camp. So everything, we are very good.
He noted that the state government will deploy security operatives at the venue of the festival and other key places in the state to adequately secure visitors and non-visitors.
Security, we have several subcommittees, and security committees is one of them. And this is not a festival that is being controlled or organized by Ministry of Sport Development only. We are just the coordinator. We have several agencies, ministries, parastatals that are involved, and all of us are working around the clock to ensure that we deliver the best festival.
No fewer than 15,000 athletes are expected to participate in the games, with Babcock University to serve as a games village. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television News.
Ernesto Valverde has said he's hopeful Atalante club can fend off interest from Barcelona and the Premier League and keep Nico Williams in Bilbao next season. Williams is set to lead Atlantic club in their Europa League semi-final first leg against Manchester United at St. Mains on May 1st. It comes amid renewed talks to a move to either Barcelona, Arsenal or Chelsea in the summer. Valverde, however, is determined to keep hold of the 22-year-old winger. And that's it on AM News. And a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. You can download the Global TV Nigerian app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Global Morning continues. Stay tuned.
morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
disbursing upkeep of 20,000 naira.
Know that you cannot talk about a healthy nation if you don't have means to produce your own in addition to importing.
The CG is the principal actor of this because it's within her jurisdiction. Minister is a supervisor.
We must run in accordance with the Constitution of CAN, where you have just a single time.
The human factor, you have the infrastructural factor, then you have the mechanical factors.
The Senate, with all due respect, they were so hasty in passing that judgment.
The statement I'm about to make is we're not even aware.
That is the future.
You have to be aware before you can begin to be prepared.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Money.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
reversing upkeep of 20,000 naira.
Know that you cannot talk about a healthy nation if you don't have means to produce your own in addition to importing.
The CG is the principal actor of this because it's within her jurisdiction. Minister is a supervisor.
That we must run in accordance with the constitution of CAN, where you will have just a single time.
The human factor, you have the infrastructural factor, then you have the mechanical factors.
The Senate, with all due respect, they were so hasty in passing that judgment.
The statement I'm about to make is we're not even aware.
That is a future.
You have to be aware before you can begin to be prepared.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Well, I am surprised you're still taking such comments from such people very seriously. A man who called citizens of Nigeria.
Welcome back, and just in case you're just joining us, this is Global Morning here on Global Television, and my name is Godwin Sunday. Well, there's one particular conversation on everybody's lip in the country right now, and that conversation is first around the Labor Day that happened yesterday, and of course it has left a lot of persons speechless about the promises and the non-fulfillment of obligations of different governors across the country. Yesterday we saw even the president coming out to promise the labor of better remunerations for their services, better wages, and or better service condition. But it's like another recurring phenomenon and a common decimal factor every May Day, where politicians and governors across the states come out to promise, but we don't get to see the fulfillment. Hope this one will be different. Another conversation on everybody's lip is the conversation around the defection of people from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress. Well, we'll start off with this conversation right now, which has to do with the defection from Party A to Party B, especially within the People's Democratic Party and what's happening in the southern part of Nigeria. And joining me in this conversation is Bilal Aliyu, who is a public policy analyst and also a member of the People's Democratic Party. Good morning and welcome to Global Morning, Bilal. All right, so
morning.
Bilal, so good to have you join us this morning. Let's begin the conversation from the top. Now, just yesterday we saw another defection from the People's Democratic Party members in Cross River State. That's speaking about of Ecom local government, and they cited that the governor, Basio II of the Cross River State, as the governor of Cross River State, is doing magnificently well for the good people of Cross River State, and also Nso, who happens to be the chairman of the Ecom Council. She's also doing well, and that's why they want to align themselves with the parties that are doing well. But you are a member of the People's Democratic Party, and Bukola Saraki have come out to say that there is no cause for alarm in the People's Democratic Party. But so far, so good, we see more defections as against no cause for alarm. I want to ask, first, is there a cause for alarm at this point, even within the camp of the People's Democratic Party, going by your own assessments?
Thank you, Godwin. As it stands, there is no any cause for alarm, because the defections that we've been, witnessing over the past 1 week, we are not moved as a party with these defections happening, based on the fact that we know our key strengths, and the South region is a PDP stronghold. And the PDP is not just a party within that region, it's more of a culture. So I want to let you know that the defection issues going on within the South region today, don't forget that the 2027 elections is fast approaching, and there's been some permutations around the APC trying to see how they can, dominate the South region. But I want to let you know that the people defecting, the so-called leaders within that region, are not the electorates. Defecting, going to another party, or having more governors dominating different states does not guarantee that you can, deliver the APC to this, to deliver the states to the APC, because the South region is a PDP stronghold, and the people are there to decide. The governors have no influence over the masses. The masses are there to decide. And when you look at the defections going on, you tend to find out that these are just political leaders and, some of their cabinet members trying to defect in order to maintain their various positions, because, they are more of political appointees. And at the end of the day, they wouldn't want to be jobless. So in that case, they don't have any option but just to move. And the South region is an oil-rich, area.
All right, so Bilal, let's even look at this conversation again. Of course, you've said that the people that are decamping from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress are not the electorate. And of course, but we can't deny the fact also that they also stand, they have very large influence within their jurisdiction and their geopolitical zones. They have influence within their cells, that is the local government, the wards at the local government. They have influence at the branch which forms the state. And of course, to an extent, they are also might have influence within the federal level. Looking at all of this and the mass defection going on, we saw what happened in Delta State just last week, and we are seeing another one happening in Cross River State just yesterday. And the tendency that more is not going to happen, because Okowa have come out to say that even Atiku, who happens to be the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the chances of him not leaving the party is very slim. So looking at all of this, can we guarantee that there will be, is there a guarantee rather, that there will be PDP on the ballot box in the 2027 election? Well, Bilal, we can't hear you, Bilal. I think the audio is a bit... we can't hear you, Bilal. All right. So what we're trying to get you to talk to us about some of the pressing issues as it affects the People's Democratic Party, if the party will be returning to the poll come 2027 election, going by the various thunderstorm that is hitting the party as it stands right now. Although we can't categorically say the numbers of defectors so far, but we know that of the Delta State is still something to go by with. And PDP lost that of, they've lost Benue State. The PDP have lost Edo State. PDP have lost several states, and more the tendency that more governors are not going to swing to the All Progressive Congress. The chances is still very slim. But then we'll leave that conversation at that till when we get Bilal come back to join us even on the show this morning. But Bilal, if you're there, we can hear you loud and clear, Bilal. Are you still there, Bilal? We'll go to this short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking more to Bilal Aliyu, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party. Please stay with us as the show continues in a moment.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, welcome back. And just in case you just joined us, it's the Global Morning here on Global Television. Of course, I'm talking to Bilal Aliyu, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party, and we're talking about some of the internal crisis in the party and the chances of PDP coming back strong and healthy, even on the ballot box come 2027. But Bilal, let's get you react quickly to that particular question. With all of this happening, do you see the People's Democratic Party coming strong on the ballot box come 2027?
PDP will be on the ballot box in the 2027 general elections. And you know, this the main opposition party in the country today, and also the largest political party in West Africa. You know, we are not moved by most of these defections going on within the South region, because, you know, these governors don't determine, you know, the choices of the masses at large, because as it stands, the 2027 general election is going to be the masses versus the All Progressive Congress at large, because anybody who knows what he's doing, you know, knows that the All Progressive Congress is nothing to write home about. You know, they've really drifted this country into, you know, serious crisis, which it's been very difficult for them to handle. And when you look at most of the development within all the South region, you tend to find out that it was all facilitated by the PDP-led administrations over the past, you know, years and all. So in this case, you know, the South region is a PDP stronghold, and is what, you know, the All Progressive Congress really scared about, and they are looking up for ways to see how they can weaken the PDP within that region by, you know, influencing their governors. And you know that is an oil-rich region, and you know, which these governors are instrumental in terms of like funding the People's Democratic Party based on the amount of funds that they have within that region. And there is a strategy by the All Progressive Congress to weaken the PDP in the 2027 general elections. The governors are not the one to determine who, you know, controls this states. It's the masses. And when you look at the defections going on, you tend to find out that it's just the political allies of, you know, the political leaders out there, you know, trying to, you know, the camp. And when you find out a lot of people are not happy because they're the camping, it's based on the fact that they have no choice, because they are mostly political appointees and they want to retain their political seats instead of becoming jobless. You know, there is no cause for alarm, you know, in the PDP. Anybody that wants to leave can leave, because we have our own structures intact, and we have our strategies and out there to see how we could, like, you know, win the 2027 presidential elections.
Just in right now, Bilal, El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State, just made a tweet about a video that is making the rounds on social media that has alleged that Sheyi Tinubu's thugs brutalized Nan's president as it stands right now. But before we get you react to this and try to tie this up, because there's allegation that the All Progressive Congress threatening most of the people in different states to join their party, but we don't know how true that allegation is. But let's take a look at this video. We'll talk more if this is what Nigerian political parties stand for, and if the All Progressive Congress, if it's different from the PDP, if the PDP is different from the APC, is the APC different from the Labour Party? Do we have a party ideology even in this country? Does PDP have an ideology? And if yes, why are PDP members moving to the All Progressive Congress that also have a different ideology, and the ideologies do not tally? Let's take a look at this video first and get El-Rufai's conversation around it. Then we'll come back to the PDP matter. Please stay with us.
Sheyi and the Minister for Youth. The Minister for Youth, when he saw me, he hugged me in Lagos. We talked, and I was to be offered 100 million naira. But the thing is, it's not all about money. There are things which I stand for. You cannot ask me to begin to promote a president who has not done something for me to say he has done it. If he does something good, I will promote him. We will support him as the president and commander-in-chief. But where he is, you cannot say I should keep quiet. I won't do that. That we couldn't settle. And they felt that I'm being stubborn not to accept money and to come to Lagos without accepting money and going back. So they planned my abduction, and on the 15th, I was abducted. Of April, I was abducted, stripped naked, beaten seriously in collaboration with the MD of NTA. The MD of NTA, I was packaged to NTA to make involuntary statement that I am no longer, that I have renounced my position as NANS president. I did that to gain my freedom, but immediately I released a press statement that I was forced, it was under duress, and because I was naked, I was beaten. They claimed that they will share the video. That Sheyi told them that they can share the video, nothing will happen. And that even if they kill me, he will order. That was the word Ladoja used. It is Ladoja that is telling me this. That he will instruct, yes, he will instruct the Inspector General of Police to cover it up. And if he doesn't do that, that he will go. So I now asked, even this morning when somebody was telling me that, you know who Sheyi is, I say, yes, Sheyi is an ordinary citizen like myself. He's not occupying any official position. I told them yesterday, I made it clear, that even if I'm coming to this hall and I'll be shot, I'll still come to this hall. At the end, today, the inauguration is concluded and I'm the NANS president. I want Nigerians to know what has happened and that we are not going to give up and that Sheyi can do anything he wants to do. He's already in this hotel. This inauguration wouldn't have held. You can see the organization is not correct. See the way the things was hardly done. I told the MC, quickly start. Don't do no protocol. Do the inauguration as long as though they will be arresting or killing the NANS president now, who controls over 40 million Aluta forces. So I want to, for the want of time, I don't want to take much of our time, but I have told you in brief. So we cannot say, the most important thing which my government, which we want to do as leaders of NANS, is that we will fight the cultists. We will take away cultism from NANS, the touts from NANS. They are just a bunch of touts and criminal elements. When politicians want to do anything, they recruit them to do all of these things, and that is what we have come to fight. I need your support for us to be able to do this, because without you supporting me, supporting our leadership, there's no way we'll be able to achieve this, because these people have gone far. They have no shame. I want to say, finally, that Sheyi Tinubu is a very bad example to the Nigerian youth. And the worst thing that will happen to Nigeria will be for Sheyi Tinubu to become the governor of Lagos State. He has no shame, he has no character. I have been stripped naked, he has my video in his phone. If we are in a country where things work, they are supposed to trace that in his phone, and he should be prosecuted. I do not know if what he wants to do with my naked video in his phone. It is also in the phone of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Student Affairs. The Secretary, when we went to submit a letter to the Minister of Defense, the essay to the Minister of Defense told him that he saw my naked video while they were beating me, that is also in his own phone. This is the country that we are, but they are making a mistake with the wrong person. The honest solution to this for them to do the right thing, or they should quickly terminate my life. I thank you very much for listening, Your Excellency.
All right. I haven't listened to the NANS president speak. El-Rufai has come out to also talk about this with a picture on his official X-handle account. So what's going on here? Is there a denial about the name corporate or any response from law enforcement agencies or inquiries by the human rights organizations? We must ask questions and demand answers and action. That is coming from El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State. But let's return back to the conversation. Bilal, you've listened to the NANS president speak about him being dehumanized by selected, some names were mentioned. He was allegedly dehumanized by the son of the president, in the person of Sheyi Tinubu, also the presence of a lot of persons, and none of those persons have come out to talk about this. This is one way we know that politicians also are being attributed to, where they begin to inflict fears in order to command their their electorates to do certain things. We've seen thuggeries being initiated at various stands. We've seen militial being introduced on various stands, and would recall the last Lagos State election. We know what happened between the two factions, where you saw cutlass everywhere and almost gunshots. And this was not just in Lagos State. Other states have also shared in all of this blame game. But looking at this, there tend not to be a political ideology a strong political ideology in Nigerian body politics. The People's Democratic Party and the All Progressive Congress, which happens to be the two dominant political parties, and also with the Labour Party by the side and the other political parties, we tend to see that anybody can wake up and switch to whichever side of the divide. There tend not to be a political ideology even as it stands right now. I might be wrong, but Bila, looking at this, do you think that PDP has an ideology? And if yes, when you have a Kola and Sheriff moving from PDP, and also people from Cross River State moving from PDP to the All Progressive Congress, what do you make of the ideology of PDP? Is it not strong enough, having stayed for more than 20 years?
And it's the system there isn't driven by ideologies. It's more about interest, and and it's really critical at this point within an election today in Nigeria. Your ideologies or the professional experience and all doesn't really matter at all. It's just more about interest, because even the caliber of people that we have in politics today, we have less technocrats in the political scape today. These are people that have that have never worked in a corporate environment before. These are people that are not professionals. They see politics as a profession, and which it isn't meant to be. Politics is not a profession, it's more of a service. It's a escape for people who have coming from different kinds of political professional backgrounds, coming to contribute to see how they can develop their nations, community at large. But in this case, the reason why we are in this form of state today, it's simply because our politicians are not driven by ideologies. It's just basically interest. So that's the situation on ground. But looking at the PDP, they've had that experience over the past 20 years, and most of the developments that we've had as a country today has been facilitated by the PDP. The economy was good back then. There wasn't inflation, developments going on across the nation at large. But since, the emergence of the All Progressive Congress since 2015, the country has been nothing to write home about. We have drifted backwards, and at this point in time, Nigeria is in a very critical state, and it needs, immediate attention in order to enable the country develop and revive it at large.
Can we say that because the PDP does not have an ideology, that's why anything goes in and goes out as it stands right now? Looking from President, the former Vice President of Nigerian, Atiku, who has moved from Party A to Party B. We looked at Saraki that has moved from Party A to Party B. We've looked at Dino Melai that has moved from Party A to Party B. And they've returned back to the People's Democratic Party. And they are championing the cause of the party. Could this be that because the party does not have an ideology, that's why the party is largely hit by this tsunami that is currently greeting the party and telling it farewell?
The reasons why they left the PDP since 2014, it was based on the fact that there was a crisis really going on in the country, hitting the Northeast. And you see, most of these people are majorly from the Northeast, like Atiku, whereby the 3 states in the northeastern states were captured by the Boko Haram, and the country was at a very, very critical condition at that time. And the then president, economically, he was doing good, but security is something, the major responsibility of a government is to, ensure security of lives and properties in a country. And at that point in time, there were more of like these agreements with the People's Democratic Party, and they felt like the APC was a new party and it called for restructuring and progressive change. So at that point in time, these were the people that formed the All Progressive Congress, and they had to lay down, a plan for the party. But while joining the All Progressive Congress, they tend to find out that it was a different thing entirely, because those people were not driven by ideologies. Their strategies and policies were not translated into actions. And in that case, the country was at at a very, very critical point. So they had to come back to where they belonged and had to see how they could restructure the PDP, because they noticed that the PDP, has that experience, and most of the milestone developments that we've had in this country have been facilitated by the People's Democratic Party. So that was the reasons why these people had to decamp back to the PDP. And ever since, there has been a plan for the nation in order to, revive and all. But in this point in time, we've tend to see some form of sabotage, because the present administration today, is looking for a way to turn the nation into a one-party system. And these are people that are really scared of rivalry, and they fail to understand that, taking structures of or causing, crisis within the opposition parties, it's not the way forward, to retain political power, because you're not performing well. The only way you can retain political power is, to ensure that you're fulfilling the social contract signed between you and the masses at large. But the people are yet to feel the dividends of democracy. So what are you going to campaign? What are you going to campaign?
Bilal, we'll take you on that conversation. We'll take you on that conversation. We'll just go for a slight break right now. When we come back, we'll talk more on that angle you're going right now with that conversation, because a lot of arguments has been sprung forth by that conversation. But let's go for this break. When we come back, we'll talk more, Bilal.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
Global Morning
aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
dispersing upkeep of 20,000 naira.
Know that you cannot talk about a healthy nation if you don't have means to produce your own in addition to importing.
The CG is the principal actor of this because it's within her jurisdiction. Minister is a supervisor.
We must run in accordance with the constitution of CAN, where you have just a single time.
The human factor, you have the infrastructural factor, then you have the mechanical factors.
The Senate, with all due respect, they were so hasty in passing that judgment.
The statement I'm about to make is we're not even aware.
That is the future.
You have to be aware before you can begin to be prepared.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is still Global World on Global Television. And joining me to talk about the state of the nation and, of course, the defection that is going on in the People's Democratic Party is the person of Bilal Ali, who is a member of the People's Democratic Party. All right, Bilal, so good to have you back even on the show.
Well, thank you, Godwin.
All right, so let's delve into the other side of this conversation, Bilal. You have said that it's due to the fact that people that are leaving the party and they have been to other side, been to APC, and they've returned back to the PDP, haven't seen that the All Progressive Congress was not what they wanted for themselves. And of course, you've also said that the PDP is known for its infrastructural development and so far, national infrastructural development so far. But Bilal, most of the people leaving the People's Democratic Party are leaving based on one reason from time immemorial, and that conversation has always been that they are leaving because the People's Democratic Party lack leadership structure. The People's Democratic Party always have leadership tussle, and to a very large extent, this is why they are leaving the party. But looking at as it stands right now, Sheriff of the people's of the governor of Delta State has gone to the APC, and one thing that is going on right now in the APC in Delta State is the issue of leadership tussle, which has bedeviled the PDP. They've taken it again to the APC. Can we say, can we rule out the possibility that PDP members that are leaving the party is not due largely to leadership tussle as it stands right now?
Majorly, when you look at the situation on ground, you know, we have some form of leadership crisis in the NWC, the PDP, and that's not something that's going to be resolved immediately. You know, there are steps that have to be taken, and you know, we need to be very patient about that, because the stakeholders of the party need to be very diplomatic in terms of achieving that, because we know that a major contender in all this crisis is someone who's working for the present administration today, and he's not just, you know, being serving as a minister under that cabinet, but you know, there has been some, you know, agreements reached, and that's one of the arguments. He has to, you know, weaken the People's Democratic Party, and you know, the All Progressive.
Is that an allegation or is a statement of fact?
No, that's a statement of facts. That's a statement of facts, because you could remember when they had like the iftar dinner with the presidents, whereby the president told the minister of FCT that, you know, you're coming from the other side, you have to make sure that the PDP doesn't take over the APC. You know, you have to deliver the FCT to the APC. And you know, for over since inception, the FCT has been a PDP dominated territory, and he's told him that, you know, you have to ensure that the APC dominates the FCT, or else you lose your job. So what does that mean? You know, this is more of like an agent trying to work for for All Progressive Congress in terms of like weakening the People's Democratic Party. Because when you look at the APC, you tend to find out that there's a party that is very undemocratic. They don't like any form of healthy rivalry. You get, so they're trying to see how they can turn the nation into a one-party system, causing disruptions in all opposition parties, and you know, it's very dangerous to our democratic system at large, because these are pains that's, you know, when it gets to a particular form of level, it's going to become unbearable, and in that case, it's not going to be easy for the All Progressive Congress to happen. These are things that like threaten the nation at large and our national security. So we need to ensure that there is a level playing ground for everybody, a fair level playing ground for everybody, to partake in, instead of looking at for ways to see how you can, cause disruptions across different opposition parties. I know, but they've forgotten to understand that right now the battle is between the masses and the All Progressive Congress at large, because Nigerians are tired and they've had enough of all this nonsense, going on.
Bilal, looking at the leadership tussle in the PDP, even as it stands right now, but again, that's on one hand. On the other hand, looking at the defection that is going on within the party, that's on the other hand, on the other side. Now, try to marry these two conversations together. One, there's a leadership tussle in the party. Two, people are leaving the People's Democratic Party. We've not seen a leadership move to unify the party. We've not seen leadership strive to bring back aggrieved members of the party. And we've not seen practical steps by the leadership of the People's Democratic Party within the South-South region of Nigeria, which tend to be threatened by this old defection drama going on in the party. Bilal, at this point, if you want to assess your political party, do you think that the People's Democratic Party care about people that are defecting, or they just pull up and I don't care attitude? If you want to go, you can go, and that is what it seems. But looking at it in your own observation, do you think that your party right now has given up hope of coming back for any election or re-election or taking the South-South, since there are no structures and there are no committees for reconciliation and other bodies to also ensure that there is strong unity within the southern part of Nigeria?
Those defected to another party does not determine that they are going to retain their seats, because, as I said earlier, the South-South region is a PDP stronghold, and the PDP is not just a party, it's more of a culture, based on the fact that most of its key developmental milestones were being facilitated by the PDP government. And right now, the APC
so that is past glory. What you say right now is past glory, and that has nothing to do with the current realities on ground as it stands. Yeah, so Bilal, most people will say that what you said right now, that PDP has a very formidable force and a stronghold in the South-South, that is a past glory. That PDP is a culture and not just a political party in the South-South, that is a past glory. Could it also be the reason why the People's Democratic Party leadership is not making any move to reconcile and to bring all aggrieved parties in the South-South to forge a formidable force within the South-South?
Their own. They are on their own. They are not there to dictate to the masses to vote to the APC or anybody. The masses know the directions where they are going to, because they are not feeling the dividends of democracy at this point. No reasonable Nigeria, at this point in time, will want to support the All Progressive Congress in the next coming general elections, based on the fact that we've drifted way backward into economic crisis. There's a high level of inflation. I know. So what the masses really want at this point in time is a change. And looking at the way the All Progressive Congress are trying to sway in most of these South governors into the APC, with issues like bringing out some kind of like huge developmental milestones projects to their region, being facilitated by the federal government, and which at the end of the day they can come out and like boast to say that, okay, yes, this is what I brought to my region at large. And you can see the issues going on in Akwa Ibom, like the coastal highway projects and all, So these are things that they are trying to use, because for you to attract some form of like federal development into your state, you need to, move closely to the president. You have to lobby for that. But in this point in time, they are all there for their own interest. And I want to tell you the fact, most of those key defections are just defections of people, governors with his political allies. And you've seen the case of Ifeanyi Okowa, for example. There was a money laundering scandal, out there, over ₦2 trillion and all. And there was a statement that Adams Oshiomhole once said, once you come into PDP, APC, your sins are forgiven. And, there have been some threats in there. So these are ways, this is why he has already moved to the All Progressive Congress, which is, the boy who happens to be the present governor of Delta State, in order to evade EFCC probes and I know. So the All Progressive Congress, they are really getting it wrong, thinking that getting the leaders of opposition parties coming to their own party will enable them to retain the states. If it's all about leadership, in the 2023 general elections, we had the Deputy Senate President, who was the gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressive Congress. Why didn't he deliver the APC to the All Progressive Congress? How many seats, how many House of Assembly seats was he able to, deliver to the APC? How many House of Representative seats was he able to deliver to the APC? And looking at Ifeanyi Okowa, this is someone that has no political gravity. Let me tell you that fact. He has no political gravity at all. If it's all about leadership, he could have delivered the presidential elections to the People's Democratic Party, because the Delta State lost it to the Labour Party in the 2023 general election. So this thing right now is not just all about leadership or having leaders within your governors within your party. If you want to, win the interests of the people, you need to perform well. They have to feel the dividends of democracy. These are the people that are, that have a stay during the elections. Without the masses, there is no way you can win elections. Hello, Godwin.
Well, Bilal, I think it's a fine way this morning to say thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. I wish we can talk more on this, but I've been signaled right now that it's time to go. But I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show, Bilal.
It's my pleasure, Godwin.
All right, viewers, that's how far we can go this morning on A Global Morning. And do remember that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can follow us across all our social media handles now showing on your screen using @Global TV NG. And you can also download the Global TV mobile app on Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. I am Godwin Sunday. Thank you for watching, and always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Bye.
Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Police station before they leave. They take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.